Oh, Michael, what have you got there?
Oh, hey Nick, how you going? Oh, sorry, you just caught me reading a book.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's well, I've got the audio book playing at the same time.
But you
But
like to read along to the audiobook.
yeah, I thought there were going to be more pictures, to be honest.
Hear
But
it in his own voice.
good book. This one. Have you picked up this bad boy yet? Regime
Uh,
Change. Maggie
oh, who's that by?
Haberman, Jonathan Swan. Talk of the
No, I haven't.
town. Have you heard about it?
Is it? I haven't actually.
What? You're not. You're not listening to life.
Podcast you're listening to, yeah.
No, this is the book of the moment, dude.
Okay, and tell me about it.
It's called Regime Change Inside the Imperial Presidency of Donald Trump. Maggie Haberman, Jonathan Swan, New York Times reporters. Jonathan Swan did that famous interview back in at the end in Trump's first term. He was the
Yeah,
Axios guy
yeah,
making
yeah.
all those
The
funny
dude sitting
faces.
there with the charts, yeah. And
Anyway,
Haberman used to be of the Washington Post, I'm pretty sure, because I
that's
used to
right.
read
Yeah,
her columns over there. But I think,
terrific
given everything
journalist,
that's
both of
happened,
them.
she's jumped ship.
Great journalist, but basically just they've got a lot of incredible sourcing inside the White House from basically kind of the start of this year. It goes into like the behind the scenes of the Epstein stuff, like behind
Start
the
of this year?
yeah.
How's that possible?
I mean, they
Start of
tried
2026. It's only mid-July. They made a book this year and printed it.
yeah. It looks like it's burnt them both out from the interviews, but
Jesus.
it's pretty revealing. I'm only a quarter of the way through, but it's really good so
Does
far.
it feel so? Some of the criticisms, perhaps a little bit more directed at administration officials than external journalists, but some of the criticisms of some of these Trump era tell-alls is that journalists or sources inside the White House learnt important things and then sat on it to print a book about it.
You're talking about Jake Tapper.
Where do you, yeah, or even just, like that. I was the head of the blah department and this guy came up and said this to me and now I'm telling you all about it. And it's like, well, you had a duty when you were in the role to actually notify the public about that, not save it for a book.
Yeah.
Where do I know you're only a quarter through. Do you get a sense that they have, is this recapping things that we already knew about or heard about, or is there a lot of like, and you won't believe what happened next? Like, does it feel a little bit self-serving in the fact that this is a book rather than reporting? Because they're both, as you say, prominent journalists.
Not at all. I mean, they dropped. I wouldn't say they're kind of touching on issues of legality necessarily, if that's what you're saying. Like information that is pressing for the public in the public interest. It's
Yeah.
more revealing over what the discussions were of how to handle the Epstein crisis that was in the White House. I'm saying crisis because it was a comms crisis for them, and the panic that ensued in the Situation Room, and the kind of things that Trump was saying on phone calls to people that wasn't public knowledge prior. So
Okay.
yeah,
So according to the summary here, Maggie and Jonathan Swan provide an account of the first year of Donald Trump's second term. So they started this in 2024 and conducted approximately 1,000 interviews within 2 years. So it's not come about solely in 2026,
no,
which
it's
makes a bit more
yeah.
sense.
Sorry, it's not. It just opens. It opens kind of in 2026,
Sure.
and it's kind of it even touches on the Iran war. So that's how quickly they've turned this around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of that stuff was percolating even back then, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive regardless. I'm not surprised that it has had coverage. I'm curious what you think by the end of it. I see that Trump's reaction was to call Haberman maggot
Yeah.
and criticize her as a third-rate writer and intellect.
Yeah, I mean that's been one of the things that they've talked about. He hasn't criticized Jonathan Swan. And
He liked Jonathan Swan. You could tell from that interview.
yeah. I mean, he likes people that he weirdly respects people that give it back to him. He hates women. I think that's clear, which is why he's going after Maggot there. But,
Of course. Yeah.
sorry, Mrs. Haberman. But yeah, I think he respects Swan. Yeah, he called it fake news, lies. I mean, JD Vance, I don't know if you saw. I'm going to guess you didn't. You didn't sit through the 3-hour Joe Rogan, JD Vance podcast.
No, I didn't dedicate that part of my week to that.
You know what? I was interested in it, and honestly, even for me, I couldn't stomach the whole thing. I had to just resort to analysis by people on YouTube that I trust, because there's something. I mean, as unlikable and grotesque as Trump is, there is a palatability there that JD Vance does not have. There is something so fake about JD Vance.
Totally.
That I can't, that more than Trump. There is an authenticity to his dishonesty and who he is in a way. JD Vance he's changed his name 4 fucking times. You know,
is that right?
Yeah. Well, it might be three or four. He's changed his name so many times. He's changed religions. There's nothing authentic about this dickhead.
Well, and I mean, he was relatively left-leaning, or at least centrist, until this sort of political shift where he found an audience on the right and sort of abandoned all the things that he'd said historically.
Called Trump,
I mean, that doesn't surprise me that he
called Trump Hitler.
Yeah.
He's really bad. Anyway, I say that because he kind of referenced this book in the Joe Rogan interview. But yeah, it's a great read. I mean, because I'm a US politics junkie, and it's weird kind of seeing. I've watched every single interview from Swan and Haberman on this book before I actually received it. So it's like I've already kind of seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting any kind of of the narrative surprise, but there are details in it which is still really kind of.
Did you have to order it in, or was that just at your local bookstore?
No, I pre-ordered it, and actually in America that comes with a completely gold cover, and the publisher in Australia's got this, so I didn't really want to. I mean, I've been reading this in bed, and poor Lauren's sitting next to me, just having to stare at Trump's beautiful face there.
I was about to say, when do you read? I'm trying to read more than I did for a while there, but it is still a little bit of an uphill battle to but to consciously choose to go open a book rather than look at a screen. And for me, it is before bed, lying in bed, read a chapter has 100%. Been sort of the rhythm that suits for me. But is that what you're doing as well?
Yeah. I mean, it's only really in bed. I mean, even if you did it out in public, it would feel performative. So I don't know. Do you reckon that reading? Because I do struggle to. Every New Year's, my resolution for the last 10 years has been to read more.
Yeah,
and it's very, very tough. I might get through one or two books, and I have to really, really want to read a book. And I think it's podcasts. I think because I listen to so many podcasts, it's kind of who am I doing this for? Why am I reading as opposed to the audiobook? It's kind of I'm not convinced that the act of reading from a book is more nourishing or intellectually satisfying than putting out a podcast, because I don't think I'm paying attention as much as I am when I listen as opposed to read.
That's interesting. I would have actually said that for me, reading, I am absorbing more because I am explicitly not doing anything else. My podcast habits, I'm never just sitting down quietly with a podcast on, right? Podcast is the thing that's on while I'm doing the other thing. Yeah. So if I'm cleaning or I'm at the gym or I'm walking the dog or whatever, the podcast is the accompaniment. But that does mean that sometimes it is the background noise.
Yeah.
Sitting down and reading a book, I'm not doing anything else. So I do actually find that easier to absorb information rather than sort of gloss through information.
It might be an ADHD thing, I think.
It's possible. I mean, I reached a little bit of peace with that whole New Year's resolution thing about reading, because I realized a couple of things. The first is that I do a lot of reading. It's just not books. I'm reading news articles on website all the time. I'm reading newsletters. I'm reading essays, I'm reading all kinds of other work, right? So in terms of actual like consumption of written text, I read all day, constantly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that gets undervalued in some respect. Like if I was reading a newspaper, you'd count it as reading. But if I was reading like a news website, I don't think people ascribe that as reading the same way. But it is. It's the same information. It's just a different form. So
why is reading so revered in a sense? Like why is it seems more intellectual?
Well,
is it kind of a bygone kind of era thing?
There's a little bit of nostalgia to it, but I think there's also a purity to it, which is sort of what I was saying there as well. Like if you're reading, you're not doing other things. And I think in some respects, there's a purity there. An audiobook is something you can have on while you're doing other things. And in fact, I think it would be weird to have an audiobook on and not be doing other things. And so I suppose that's why like a classic physical copy of something is held up a bit more. But,
yeah, I guess it's kind of like vinyl records. You purchase the physical. It's nice to have the physical thing, and it feels like I think the physicality of it
tactile.
Means something.
I would argue, and I have no science to back this up, but if we were talking about information retention, I reckon there's a plausible hypothesis to be tested that holding a thing and turning a page grounds you and centers your focus in a way that an audio-only track doesn't.
It feels more disposable, I guess.
The audio, yeah. It's easy for an audio to be ephemeral and for you to listen to something else or to tune on to, your eyes distract you into something else. There are definitely times when I'm listening to a podcast and I'm like, wait, I haven't been listening for the past 2 minutes, and you have to skip back and like re-listen to it,
Yeah. What podcasts do you listen to though?
A bit of everything. I listen to Conan, I listen to Amy Poehler, I listen to a couple of TV podcasts, I listen occasionally to like Off Menu if there's a guest that I like. Listen to Maintenance Phase.
So it's kind of comedy interview.
Maintenance Phase and If Books Can Kill, I'm a bit more like researchy or
woke,
non-fiction-y. Yeah, woke.
Woke pods.
Yeah. Other than that, nothing crazy. But good on you for reading a book.
Thank you. Reading a quarter of a book. Yeah. Thank you. I saw. I think I get an impulse other than the New Year's kind of rush. I might see an Instagram reel where a girl will be saying, "Here are the top 5 hottest hobbies that men can have," and it will always be reading. And I'll be like, "I'm going to get myself a book,"
because you want to be impressing the ladies.
Yeah, but then I'm too scared to be called out for being a performative male out in public, so I never take the book outside. So it's a toxic cycle.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I've realized as well that has improved my enthusiasm for reading is that I had a lot of books gifted to me by well-meaning and generous people. But if it's not a book that I chose for myself, it is harder to start the motivation of it. And when I have bought books that I've wanted because I want to read them, I can easily devour them at quite a clip. But when it comes to like reading something that's been gifted, it's an added hurdle. And realizing that, and I've asked people to stop giving me books till I can work through the stack of stuff I have already. But that has also reinvigorated my enthusiasm for it, because when it's a book that I want to read it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's been kind of something of a tradition in my family at Christmas. I'll just ask for a book or I'll get people books, but it very quickly can turn into passive aggressive kind of things. It's like how to manage your money better. It's like how to tell your parents,
secrets to a great sex life. What are you saying?
Thank you, son.
Welcome to Deep Forward, everybody. Thank you for joining us here in this audio medium. We hope that as you clean the kitchen, lift weights at the gym, or walk your dog, you're enjoying having our voices in your ears for another week. sitting through the internet with me, my friend Michael. Hello.
Hi, Nick.
Thank you so
How
much
are
for
you?
saying hi to me. I'm great. That's perfect. We finally nailed the introduction. What have you been up to today? What were you rushing home from?
The supermarket. I'm currently marinating some chicken. Gonna make a butter chicken for the old wife.
Oh, don't call her
Craving
old.
A bit of butter chicken. Just had some errands to get done, but I knew you needed to get out early, so I raced home. I hit a few people on the way, but I got here. The police are just sitting outside right now,
But they can't come in without an invitation. They're like vampires.
And I said, my buddy in New Zealand
don't have a warrant.
has to walk his dog at 4 p.m. New Zealand time. And they said,
Respect,
fair
we'll
enough.
pick you up afterwards.
Yeah,
You get one more pod out and then we'll arrest you.
yeah, we'll just be here listening to an audiobook. What have you been doing? Why do you have to walk your dog at a specific time? Why are you taking to the beach at a specific time?
Because the goal is to walk her and then go to Casey's parents' place for dinner, and it's across town, and it's also going to be sunset at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So if we're not there at that time, it'll be like pitch black, and there'll be no point to doing it. So it's just sort of
Completely checks out.
just sort of had to be the time that we were aiming for. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Now, Michael, last episode, I said I was going away for the weekend. And in the intervening period, the long weekend of Matariki, we went off to Reefton. And I just thought I'd tell you a couple of things that happened on that trip.
Gold digging, right?
Gold digging, gold panning. So we left on the Friday. Reefton, for reference, is like 3 hours away. So it's over the Alps from Christchurch through the Lewis Pass and then sort of over towards the west coast. Not quite on the beach, but closer to that side of the world. So that's like a perfect long weekend road trip distance. Like, I don't want to drive more than 3 hours when I'm going to be back in 2 days, you know? And so we were about an hour out. We were like settling into the groove. Sorry, an hour out from Christchurch, still 2 to go. Settling into the groove. We got to this sort of turn off, which is by a place called Hanmer Springs, which is like a popular alpine sort of hot springs tourist destination. So a lot of cars and stuff heading out that way. We weren't going there, so we bypassed it, went around the corner and came down this like slow decline. And then in front of us, too late, we spot a couple of cones on the side of the road. And they are there, theoretically, to inform drivers of a giant pothole, which, with the traffic coming the other direction and the traffic behind us, and the fact that we're coming around a corner, there's just nothing we could do. We couldn't swerve off because there's cones there. We couldn't swerve into the other lane because there's traffic. So we just hit this fucking pothole and immediately explode a tire. Just like full
How fast we going?
pop. Oh, probably 90. You know, it's a highway.
Shit.
So full pop, like immediately we know, oh shit, this is gone, right? We're an hour out
driving?
from Christchurch. KC was driving. So we pull over to the side. Like, we're fine, but we pull straight over. There's actually not that much like side of the highway. So we do a U-E just because on the other side of the road, there's a lot more space there. And we're thinking, okay, if we've got to change a tire, you know, you want to be as far away from the traffic as possible. So we do a U-E. We sit over there, and that means we're facing back the way we came, looking up at that, you know, the pothole 100 meters away. And we get out and we have a look at this car, and the tire is fucked. Like, there's this big, in fact, I'll send you a photo. And in fact, if you look on your chapter notes in the podcast, you'll get to see it as well.
Jesus. Why is it so clean?
I don't know why
It's such a clean cut.
but it was a fairly like deep fucking pothole. And there was no way around it. It was dead in the middle of the lane. So it's just like, you got to drive there. And you can see all the cones there. Meant that you couldn't veer a couple of tires off to avoid the hole because you'd hit 5 cones in a row. So So this thing's fucked, and we're flat immediately. Now, I have a spare in the boot. I haven't changed a tire in ages, but we're thinking we can do it. But I'm like, I'm just going to call AA. I've got roadside assistance anyway.
What's Alcoholics Anonymous going to do for you?
Well, we'd both been drinking. So
Okay.
I thought, okay, I've relapsed. This is the most important thing to do, is to call AA.
Fair enough.
Call them up and I'd be like, it's a public holiday. It's a Friday. If we can't do this, if the spare we have is flat, if there's any kind of hitch here, I just want to get this process going. And if we do change the thing, then we can cancel the call out. But I don't want to sit here for 3 hours if it's going to be 3 hours. I'm just going to call. So we get on the phone, we tell them where we are. They're like, great, we'll send out someone to, come look at your tire, change your tire. In the meantime, Casey, we've fully packed the boot. So I've unloaded all of the things from the boot into the the side of the highway. Casey starts yanking out the tire and replacing it. It's all going pretty smoothly. I don't think he'd ever done a tire change before, but you know how good he is at things. And I was like, I've done this ages ago, and I got the manual. We crushed it. So we get this spare tire on. We're a little bit proud of ourselves. It's frustrating. We're going to be late to our destination. Goose is in the car and going a little bit insane because we're just stuck here at the side of the road. But look, the tire's on. It's fine. I call back AA. I'm like, hey, we've actually sorted this tire. So, thanks. You can cancel the call out. We're all good. And they're like, no worries. And we're talking through the process of notifying the transit authority about this pothole and everything. While we were doing this change, we watched 2 other cars hit the same pothole and blow a tire in front of us. So we're staring at it, and it happens to 2 other cars in the maybe 45 minutes that we're sat there changing our tire and doing our shit, right? So this thing is a mass murderer. It is just hitting every car that comes past it and just popping them, bang, bang, bang. So there's 3 cars in this time, this
and
1
how many
hour
people
period.
before you?
Yeah, who knows? And obviously it happened to someone because there's fucking cones there. But no one's, there's no notice ahead of it that there's a hole in the ground you need to avoid. And there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just useless. So there's other people when we're going up to check if they need a hand and, everything. So we're done. I canceled AA call out. We get in the car. We've repacked the boot with all of our shit for the weekend. Goose is back in the container. All good to go. Go to turn on the car. Blink, 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 blink. Engine doesn't start. The electrics or something have been shorted. We had turned the car off. Obviously, the lights were off. I had a good battery. I drive this. This is our only car. We drive it all the time. Something about the physical impact of this pothole shook up the car so much that once it was turned off, it just shat itself. It either went into lockdown mode or anti-theft mode or something, a wire or something. I don't know. Something just fucked. And we tried, and we're setting all the gears, and we're doing all the things. We're putting the key, and we're waiting 15 minutes, and trying to follow all these things. The car is just not fucking starting. And we're like, oh my God. So I call AA back a 3rd time. I'm like, hey, so you know how we called out someone to do the tire, and then we cancelled that person because we did the tire? Can you please call that person up again and get them to come out again because the car is actually not starting? And they're like, God. Yep, that'll be an hour. I'm like, fuck. Fuck.
How long after you were on the phone with them initially was this?
This is an hour after I'd first called them. So we'd already been there an hour. We had another hour to wait. The guy had actually driven past us basically just as I'd cancelled him, right? Because he's having the busiest day of his life, right? There's cars up and down this fucking stretch of highway exploding. And this is the only dude in the vicinity, rural area, on a public holiday. When we spoke to him eventually, he said, I've got 3 more hours of calls to do after this. And it was 4 o'clock already. He was having a nightmare of a day. But he'd driven past just as I'd called him, maybe 5 minutes afterwards. And I gave him a thumbs up because I thought we were all good.
Wow.
So he comes
That's
back an
hilarious.
hour later. Like, Goose is going insane. We've been sat on the side of this highway for 2 hours. Like, it's dinner time, so I'm like undoing all the things in the boot again to get her food out to feed her on the side of the road. She's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Eventually, the guy comes, gives us a jump start, and the car goes, and we're off. In fact, there was a truckie that pulled over, huge like semi trailer, and he came and he had a look at the tire that we were doing. He's like, "You're all good?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're all good." He's like, "I'd offer a jump start, but I'd melt your battery," because apparently semi trailer batteries are, higher voltage or something, because you'd expect. But
And you didn't take him up on that.
no, we decided not to destroy the car.
But you're regretting that now.
But he was like, "If you're ever in any trouble on the side of the road, flag over a truckie. We love helping people." And he was like genuinely a very nice guy. He was the only guy that actually stopped and came to help, even though we're sitting there with the hazard lights on. But eventually, 2 hours later, we're on the road. We got to our destination in Reefton, and we had a spare tire on for the entire weekend because there were no tire shops open in any of the vicinities for the whole long weekend, and no one could replace it. So we just had to drive at 80 instead of 100 the whole way back.
Why are spare tires no good?
Spare tires have, because they're slim fit tires, depends on the car. Because they're fit into the boot, they're thinner than your standard tire. So they have maximum speeds that you can travel at. So we had to go slower in order to get home.
If it were me, I'd still have that tire on my car, honestly.
Yeah, I did do first thing Monday morning was drop it into the mechanic and got it sorted. I had to replace two of them, actually, because with the front ones, apparently you want them to be the same sort of level of grip. And the other one was going to go at some point anyway. So it ended up being like $400 of tire replacement unexpectedly. But, that's just part of the fun.
Well, did you find any gold to recoup your loss?
Well, there you go. You set me up my second story. So we did gold panning. It was a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, actually. When you're in New Zealand, I'm going to be spoiled for choice about where to take you because there's so many good options. But the perfect, cute little rural, like old-timey village where nothing's really busy, nothing's really changed, except, funnily enough, the day that we were there was like a classic car show. So there's all these like old school cars from all across the country had like come along to this fairground. So we actually went to the car show and walked around just because why not?
Because you're car guys now who know how to
we're car
change a
guys
tire.
now, In fact, we were walking Goose around this car show because it's just out in like a caravan park. And there were more dogs there than there were cars, I think. So it sort of felt more like a dog show than a car show. But anyway, it was this very cute, like alpine vibe, like little old school tea rooms and things, really nice. And then we went to this gold panning thing. Casey had heard about it. He'd bought some panning supplies and things. And in New Zealand, there's like 20 odd freely accessible public gold panning areas. The West Coast was a famously gold rich area. There was like a gold rush back in the olden days, and that's why a lot of these towns cropped up, because it was from this mining trade. And now a lot of those areas are privately owned, and the gold claims are held by corporations or private families, but there's some areas that are still nationally public lands that you can go and give it a crack. So we got our gear on, our waders, and dragged out our buckets and our pans and separators and all these kind of things, and went and sat in this river. And honestly, it was like really zen. It felt very, I don't know, like meditative, because what you're doing is basically, have you ever done it? Maybe a dumb question, but you've never, do you know anything about gold panning?
No, but when you said it last week, I think the first thought I had was like, I bet it's like fishing and it's kind of tranquil and
totally.
And,
yeah, it's exactly that. So the concept of it is gold is heavier than everything else. So it sinks to the bottom of the riverbed. So you dig up shit, you put it in a separator, which is like a little sieve effectively. You shake all the biggest rocks out, you get rid of it. Then you have this pan, which is full of like dirt and silt and sand and stuff. And you basically tap, 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 so that the heavier stuff, which is the gold, falls to the bottom. And then you scrape the top layer off, and then you rinse it all with water, and you tap, 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 and you scrape the top layer off, and you tap, 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 tap. And gradually, all the stuff that is the heaviest should sink to the bottom. And hopefully, at the very end, when you've cleared out all the top layer stuff, you can swirl around the sand and reveal this layer of like black sand, which is heavy metal effectively, and little flecks of gold at the bottom. So you're sitting there just in the river, shake, 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 tip, shake, 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 tip, shake, 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 tip, and you might find nothing, or you might, after 2 hours, find this.
Wow.
A tiny, 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 tiny grain of gold. It's really, I'll pop it in the chapter notes, you can have a look. Tiniest.
I'm trying. Oh, okay. So these are like little rocks and pebbles.
That is
below it.
That is minuscule. Think like literally. I don't know. We're not even talking pea size. We're talking like a grain of salt. Like someone's cracked some chunky rock salt. Like it's minuscule.
Okay.
Cracked pepper. It's that sort of size, right?
Okay.
So tiny, probably worth, if you're lucky, 2 cents. Nothing.
Okay.
So we've done it for 2 hours.
Need a few more of those for the tires.
You do. We've done it for 2 hours. We're having fun. We're trying to find different spots in the river. Sitting down there, the river is icy cold because it is alpine snowmelt. Effectively, it is a 10-degree maximum winter's day. Overnight, it had got down to -6. Like it is frigid water. And we're sitting there, for basically as long as we can bear. And I found this one tiny little speck. And Casey had got a pipette and like file and things that you could use and tweezers to collect things that you find and store it in like a jar. And so I finally got this little thing, and I grabbed this giant sort of turkey baster style syringe thing and sucked up a whole bunch of the water and this little fleck of gold, and then went to tip it into the file, and immediately it squirted out into the river and it disappeared forever.
That's hilarious. Who found immediately. Who found it? Was
me,
it Casey?
That's me. Casey also found a flag. This is a picture of me, but
okay.
Yeah. So after my 2 hours, I I squirted it into the river again, and it disappeared.
It's about the process, though, isn't it?
It's the process. It's the journey. It was genuinely a fun thing to have a crack at.
Can I just say one thing? Thanks for sending all these photos through.
Yeah.
This one photo of you looking directly into the sun, while Casey's panning behind you, is, no offense, terrifying photo of you. It's something very unsettling about your face.
Yeah, I was
delete that.
I was trying to see the screen while it was also sunset directly in my eyes. So yeah, I see that it is not ideal.
Well, that's cool. I mean, yeah. It does make me want to do something like that. I mean,
yeah, it's good fun.
It looks fun.
Yeah, our friend Jude, who listens to the pod occasionally, she's big into gold painting now, and there's whole other levels.
Big into gold painting.
She is. She lives over on the West Coast, and she has inns. She knows the places to really go if you want to find like the good shit. But there's like levels of it you can get to as well, and I'm not sure how frequently we're going to do this, but the next level up is this thing called a sluice, which is basically just like a metal tube that you stick in the river, and then you use the river current to basically sift for you rather than shaking the pan yourself. And so when we got to the river, we were looking for places to do it. There were a couple of people upstream, and they had their sluices there and their big buckets, and they were like collecting stuff. And then, if you're a real pro, you collect your buckets and then you go sort through it at home, not at the river. And we saw all this, and both of us were a bit like, I don't want to do it next to the pros. And so we went the complete other direction so we could just be incompetent out of sight of people who knew what they were doing.
That's what I would definitely feel like. You just feel like these city folks coming in and just trying to do it out of whimsy rather than...
Our culture is not your costume. Yeah, this is I was just like, look, we'll leave them. They know what they're doing. Let's go somewhere else.
And you doesn't look like you're wearing much of a costume. I was hoping you'd be wearing this kind of Buccaneers hat or something.
No, well, if I made it rich, I would have obviously bought the whole get up, but no, just gumboots and a jacket.
Well, good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Is your algorithm kind of showing you more gold panning stuff?
No, not really. I think KC did a lot of that research. I just sort of followed his lead. On the drive back, though, we did see another camper van parked over at the pothole. So there were actually 4 cars that we firsthand witnessed with broken tires because of this one thing. Interestingly, you can actually claim from the government if you lost a tire due to a pothole, because they have a common law duty to maintain the roads. And there's a full process and form that you can do through the New Zealand Transit Authority website. So I've claimed it. I've claimed the cost of the new tyres from the government, and I'll let you know what happens.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah. So that was my weekend. I had a nice time. I encourage people, if you have a chance, get out there and, pan for some gold.
It's funny because I've never really thought about gold too much, but
well, if you were living in Trump's America, it would be the only valuable currency left.
it's the most beautiful color. It is. It's kind of weird that it comes from the earth. Like you think, I guess I've never really thought about it that much because you only associate gold with like money and artificial
Jewelry.
things in a way. And yeah, I guess gold is
That's fair.
a
I see what
real
you're saying.
Metal.
Yeah,
It's a
thinking
metal,
of it
right?
as a natural resource rather than as a manufactured, aesthetic or good or something. Yeah.
And the reason why it's got a kind of reputation of being valuable is because of its scarcity, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's true for gems as well. Like, do you think of opal and ruby and stuff as natural? I mean, the only reason they have value is because we ascribe it value based on rarity, Diamonds.
Yeah. Yeah. Diamonds. Yeah. Blood diamonds.
Yeah. I mean, that's the interesting thing about that side of things is that because they are identifiable chemical structures, you can manufacture lab diamonds, right? Like you can make fake diamonds, but we still don't ascribe them the same value as a real one because something about the difficulty of acquiring them is what gives it value. The authentic natural gem version still values more than the chemically equivalent artificial version.
Yeah. I mean, well, I've bought a diamond ring for someone, and I actually bought 2 rings. I don't know if you remember this, but when I got the first ring made in Cambodia, we were traveling. I couldn't afford to buy a diamond ring, but I got a custom ring made at this jewelry shop that was run entirely by women, and the metals that they use and the gems that they find supported the victims of something. I don't know. I wasn't listening, but when I gave that as when I proposed to Lauren, and that was nice to have like that story, I thought. And then when we got back to Australia, and my mum was like, "Oh, show me the ring, Lauren," and she was like, "Oh, that's nice." And then privately, my mum pulled me aside and said, "Michael, you got to get a better ring than that. Sucks." And I was like, I gave her the whole spiel about the story and the victims and the women and blah blah blah, and she was like, you need to pay more money to show how much you love." It directly correlates with how much you love her.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to buy 2 rings.
Oh, rubbish. Can you at least sell the first one on eBay?
I've tried to. I don't know where she's hiding it. Well, speaking of diamonds, I went to the dentist.
Shit!
This week I went
It's
twice.
TikTok. You went twice.
Monday, Tuesday. So last Friday, I started to get a kind of an ache, a toothache came on. And over the course of Saturday and Sunday, it got to the point by Sunday night I couldn't sleep. It was so bad.
Toothache sucks.
It's really the worst. It's really one of the worst
like
aches. I mean,
in the
migraine.
bone, like it's really in it, you know?
I just realized you get severe migraines. So I was like,
No. I totally agree.
Back a bit.
I remember it from, braces and things. The initial like movement of teeth positions, the way that it would like, or adjusting the jaw position, that kind of ache stuff is horrible. It
was really bad. And it was one specific tooth. And I don't know why. I decided I was chewing gum on Sunday and we were about to go out for dinner. And I bit right on the tooth. I chewed right on the tooth, and the sharp pain went straight up into my skull.
Yeah,
and it was like I was in a good mood because I was taking painkillers. I got this kind of rub that I can put on there with cloves to numb it, and it was fine as long as I didn't like disturb it. I could get it to a place where it was you could forget about it for a little bit if you were doing something else.
Forget about it.
And we're on the way to dinner, and I chewed on this thing, and it went, and I couldn't see.
Yeah,
it was I just like went from 100 to 0 very quickly. So I got in on an emergency dentist appointment on the Monday morning. Had to take the day off work. It turns out I've had a root canal on one of the teeth, maybe about 15, 20 years ago, from a family dentist, and it looks like I don't really listen when it's
you like just fix it.
Words. Yeah. I kind of was like that, but it looks like the nerve, the filling or something that was there had kind of slowly they loosened up or something, and it was pushing right on the nerve. So I had to get drills into the tooth and put some medication in there, and it's kind of temporary, but I have to go see a endo something specialist, a root canal specialist, because I have to get 2 done on the same side.
Fuck
and
me.
So they're like, you're gonna have to go to a specialist.
So these are not the people who did it originally. The people that you're seeing currently who are addressing an issue that came about from a previous dentist.
Yes, it was a family dentist. I think I've talked about this family dentist on this pod before. We don't need to go through that again, but I don't think he was
qualified.
He was qualified, but there's a lot of context there, family dynamics. He's a family friend of my dad's, and the older I get, the more I think there might have been a bit of animosity between the two of them. Because my brother and sister, who had the same dentist, have had similar reports from their own dentists as adults.
Jesus.
But I've really hated the dentist, and it's not. I can take injections. It's not the pain that I'm scared of when I go to the dentist. It's the drilling and the shaking of the teeth. Like I start shaking myself when I can feel them like filing something down. Or shaking because it's connected to your skull. Yeah. And there's something about it, the coldness that just kind of
descends,
oozes all over your body is just so unbearable for me. But I got to say, I took your advice. I think this was your advice. Maybe it wasn't, but I knew I was up for a little bit of uncomfortableness on the Monday when I was getting this tooth looked at, and I asked them, which I've never done before, can I pop in a headphone to listen to a podcast? And they were like, yeah, of course. And I was kind of over apologizing for it. I do the same thing in like Ubers if I want to keep listening to a podcast. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but like, can I? And they were like, yeah, like it was almost like everyone does this, you idiot. And that was a game changer, honestly, because it was tough still, and I was still aware of what they were doing, but just to have your mind off it a little bit was a game changer. And I think you told me to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I specifically suggested that. I think I had said previously that there are dentists who now advertise themselves as like the nice guys, like ones where they explicitly say, if you have a fear of dentists, come to us. And they'll ask you, the patient, like every 10 seconds if you're okay and if this is all right, and here's what I'm going to do next, and really consciously tell you. And secondly, there are dentists which have TVs on the screen, on the ceiling, so that there's like wildlife documentaries on or stuff like that. I can't remember if in that conversation I had or had not suggested like you could put a podcast in. It might have been someone else who told you that, but it is, yeah, the same principle of like literally anything you can do to be like, oh look, sharks, that's fun,
Yeah.
having a podcast in, I'm sure, is very common these days when you can just have an AirPod in. I'm sure
Yeah.
they're used to it.
Yeah. This one didn't have dentists, and this, I, we've got private health now, and so I'm going to this Bupa dentist
Clinic,
thing, and
yeah.
I gotta say, like, compared to all of my previous experiences with dentistry, going to the dentist, like these dentists were so good, as you said, like the communication of like, all right, this is what I'm doing now, and this is what we have to do, and it's going to be this level of pain when I do this injection. And the communication was so good, and I left feeling on the Monday that I'm like really appreciative of how far dentistry has come along, because you don't really think about, because I mean, you go for a checkup every now and then, but it's kind of like one of those things of, even going to the hospital, whatever, those experiences that you have maybe more as a kid, but the distance between you revisiting these places and revisiting that experience, it can be 4 or 5 years apart if you're getting like kind of surgical level stuff done, and you don't think, at least I don't think about the technological improvements that happen all that time while you're not needing to go back, and even just the getting, like, I think I had like 4 injections for the numbing and stuff. I'm like, it's fine, it's honestly fine, like it's good, and
it's unpleasant, but it's not unbearable. Like it's
exactly.
It feels more on the tracks. Where I think like the vibe of dentistry 20 years ago, 30 years ago was like like a mad scientist. Like who knew what was going to happen. But I think you're right. Like dentistry as a practice had an image problem. And they knew from feedback that people were not coming, and they were probably sick of saying, why haven't you been here in 6 years? Like, this shit's got worse than it needed to get. And they would know that from the feedback that people are terrified of going to the dentist. And they also dislike being told how bad they are for not doing a good enough job. So they had this image problem. And I think this generation is coming up, and the industry's changed itself, and it's trying to be more like, thank you so much for coming. Let's make this process as palatable as it can be, so that next time maybe you don't leave it as long, or you can be a little bit more regular with it. It's a brand problem, and they've been consciously working on it.
Yeah, and I made a point of, I went the next day as well for a checkup, and then and a clean as well. And I made a point both times of just saying, thank you for your communication, and it made and it made a whole thing easier, and they're really nice. The guy the next day told me I had beautiful hair, and I was like, I left there feeling like $50. Honestly, it was fantastic. So shout out to dentists. I did actually
shout out to dentists.
I did ask him, the guy on the second day, because I'm curious about dentistry, because I feel like I want to apologize for him having to look into my mouth, and I did apologize, and he's like, this is my job and stuff, and I asked him about, why do you, the suicide rate of dentists, and I've asked this to a dentist before, and they've both said the same thing, which is, I haven't heard that one. And I was like, no, I think dentists have the highest suicide rate of any profession or something. That and air traffic controllers. And they were like, yeah, I haven't heard that one. Well, I'm pretty happy. I'm like, are you? Are you, mate?
Because you've got sadness in the eyes.
Well, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, dentistry is probably my number one worst job. Like the job that I would... foot?
Yeah.
I could do a foot.
Okay.
I can do a foot. Why would you say podiatrist? How is that comparable?
Stinky, gross toes, ingrown nails.
Would
foot
you rather be a
fungus, athlete's
podiatrist than a
foot.
dentist?
No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Dentistry, and this was the other point I was actually going to bring up. Like the technology of dentistry these days has advanced so far. Like back as a kid, it was all these little drills with brushes, and it was like hard grating, scraping kind of noises. My dentist, when they clean my teeth these days, uses like a jet washer, like it's a water blast. Like they're not even scrubbing with a toothbrush anymore. I'm like, this is the future. I've got this
the pressure
fantastic
hose
seat which reclines. I've got these like arms. I've got TVs. I've got a little like fountain. I feel like I'm like
fountain.
I don't know, like in a business class plane seat or something, you know, like that's I'm just living this technology life, right?
Yeah, dude.
I think it's
like a bowl of Valiums that you can just take if you want.
There's a little like Listerine pump that just spits out little cups of Listerine for people. I was like, this is my dream.
This is
I think if I'm a podiatrist, I don't get any cool shit. I'm just having to hold people's feet with my hands.
Gross.
So yeah, give me the cool chair and a bib.
Have you Oh, dude, I love a bib. Bibi Netanyahu.
You managed to get there. 53 minutes.
You can cross that off your bingo cards.
Cross it off.
Playing along
There you go. That's the center square of the deep thought bingo.
Yes, just a Star of David in the center there. Have you ever been to a podiatrist?
Yeah, I have, because I've got orthotics.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of things I've never been to. Dermatologist. Gyno.
Podiatrist. To be fair, the podiatrists I met are nice people. I've been to a few because
no one was disputing
that. Because I sort of was imputing them as weirdos up there with dentists. But
they clearly are.
Because I was having knee pain when I was running like 6-7 years ago, and that's actually how I ended up starting the gym, because the physios were suggesting maybe if you added some muscle and stuff, blah blah blah. But as part of that, I went to a bunch of like running specialists and podiatrists and things and got orthotics, and a lot of that was like stand there and then like poking and see, oh, this needs to come up and this is a bit flat here and blah blah blah, and you know, people checking out your feet.
Yeah. Okay. Weird. I guess it's connected to your back and stuff, like
running gait and things.
Yeah, I guess so. You can have back problems from.
Well, talking of technology, the one thing that did impress me at a podiatrist was they got me to go for a run, like up and down the car park, and then they held
they said, "Don't come back."
They said, "Piss off." They had their iPad out and they recorded video. And then in slow-mo, they like motion tracked my gait and were like, sick. Okay, see, like you're slightly forward here. And they like did kinetic movement things to watch like the knee position and like front on, like, so you're tilted slightly. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like getting a bit of like a slow-mo gait postural assessment. Like the technology hasn't missed podiatry completely.
Feels like you're watching the dailies for a Christopher Nolan film. Speaking of Christopher Nolan, that was an aggressive segue, but I fucking nailed it. Now, the Odyssey has come out now. I know you're keen to see it. Keen. We spoke about it a few weeks ago. I was less enthusiastic about it. Just because of the fantasy epic adventure, I'm not into that stuff. But I think, given the reviews that have come out now, I think I've convinced myself that I might enjoy it. Now, what I just wanted
to briefly jump onto what you said then. I know you just described it as fantasy, and I suppose it technically is, but in a certain way, don't you feel like these stories are 2,000 years old, right? Don't you feel like that sort of almost surpasses fantasy? Like in my head, there's a distinction between like mythology and fantasy, because like this is the oldest like dramatic device of, you know, gods and men and fables. You know, there's sort of, it's different than like elves running around. You know, like,
yes.
Do you see it as a fantasy?
Yeah. No. I know exactly what you're saying, and you're right. Like it is the the ancientness of it. It's like the original story. It's like it's like what all stories are kind
it's
of
like
come
the
from.
foundation of human.
It's the original DNA structure of narrative, of storytelling,
or at least
now.
Western narratives. Yeah,
I mean, look, I feel the same way about the Passion of the Christ. I mean, in some ways, that's a fantasy as well. But like, I'm interested in those stories. There was a Cyclops in the trailer, and that specifically really turned me off.
Sure.
Initially, I was like, okay, but no, I mean, I'm into the. I'm curious at least about the Poseidons and the Zeuses and the Yin Yangs or whatever it is. So I'm into it.
Yin Yangs, yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, Nolan is an incredible filmmaker. He'll go down as one of the great filmmakers probably ever. So there's that. It has that weight to it. So what I just wanted to pick your brain about, because sometimes I'm not sure. I spend a lot of time on X.com, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm getting a lot of skewed content coming through my algorithm.
I'm shocked.
Even though I'm trying my best to avoid that. The X algorithm is so sensitive in a way and schizophrenic that when I'm perusing X.com on my phone and I see a post that I really don't want. I don't want to linger on it. I'm rapidly going, oh shit, because I don't want the algorithm to think that I'm into it.
A second on it, yeah.
It's actually crazy. I have like a panic. Oh shit, like I don't want to. Anyway, so sometimes I'm not sure how much X is, if an issue is actually a problem that people are caring about. And
I think I know what you're going to bring up, and I can assure you that it's not an issue that people care about.
Okay, but is it a story? I mean, you at least are aware of the casting kind of.
I'm aware of the discussion, but you explain it for people who might not have heard.
Well, people coming from the right wing, were saying the Odyssey, before they've even seen it, the Odyssey is going to be shit because of the casting choices. One of which was Elliot Page. Being cast in I don't know what, a soldier or something, and there's some Lupito
Nyong'o, yeah, Lupita
Nyong'o being cast, who's African American person. So people on X were
cast
kind of
as
carrying
Helen
on
of Troy.
about the casting calling it disingenuous, or not. What's the word I'm looking for here? Not.
Anachronistic or not true, yeah.
Not true to the original text. So, I mean, there has been a debate about, trans people playing trans people and gay people playing gay people, and actors playing roles that they are a part of. You can probably word this a bit better than I can, Nick. Do you know what I mean?
I could, but I'm enjoying you fumble.
Oh, fuck me. Thanks a lot.
No, you're talking about, people being cast as from the demographics of the original characters, right?
Right.
Casting gay people as gay people, casting people of color from the correct, quote unquote, ethnicity for the role. The controversy, of course, was Helen of Troy, then casting a black woman.
Wasn't that played by she's Athena. Zendaya is Athena.
I don't know the roles, and I haven't watched the trailers because I knew I was going to see it, so I'm really blind about it. But yeah, I mean, I think I saw someone's comment, over a picture of Lupita Nyong'o, who is gorgeous, and the comment was, "To be honest, 1,000 ships seems low." Like, it is a crazy thing to me to look at a movie which is about mythology and legends and, classic archetypes, as we say, like foundational Western narratives and, these battles against Cyclops, and against, sirens and minotaurs and these larger than life characters and yin yangs and to be like, I want authenticity, and that means that Helen of Troy cannot be a black woman, because the whole point is that it's this larger than life non-reality mythology, like if you're having a Cyclops in one frame and then a black woman in the other frame, like, I don't understand why one has to be real and one can't, like I think that it is so obviously racist that it's sort of, it doesn't require further time spent to explain how dumb it is in my book. Like,
Yes,
who cares?
It's easily dismissed. I mean, like you said, there's a fucking Cyclops in the movie. So, like, I mean, I don't think the Cyclops was a Cyclops.
Yeah.
And I don't think Matt Damon
and the
is
Gorgon
Greek.
and the, who cares? Like, who cares? It's a story.
I think, I totally agree. And I think that the response to this is a reaction and a misfired reaction to that the outcry that we saw a couple of years ago with regards to what we were talking about before, trans people playing people playing their demographics, specifically minorities. And I just wonder where you think that, where do you think there is a comparison to be made there between those two opposing, the same argument being made on different issues? Do you see any validity to that at all?
I don't think that there is, and I think that I can sort of more confidently say this is just racism. It is the idea that this black woman can't be that beautiful as to be the center of this attention.
Well, it's not just racism. It's Elliot Page as well. Okay.
I don't know what Elliot's playing in the film, so I'm not sure. I can't comment.
He's just playing a guy. It's just transphobia.
Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, that's just transphobia. If there's a guy who's playing a guy, I don't know, and he looks like a guy, then what's the fucking problem? I don't. What are we doing here? The thing that I was going to say, like, is there a parallel here in terms of like authentic casting? Let me just remind you about the myth of fucking Helen of Troy. Helen is the daughter of Zeus. Zeus, who fucking in the form of a swan impregnated a woman, and they had an egg, and then Helen hatched. So what authentic actor do you want to cast here? A swan woman? Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Is that really the story?
That's true. Zeus rapes a woman in the form of a swan, and they birth an egg, and then that egg is Helen of Troy. That is the myth. So what are we fucking doing?
Why are we watching this movie?
I don't think this is going to be in the fucking movie, but
I would watch that actually.
That's yeah. It's just so absurd to me. It's like, this is why I feel like it's just so blatant, because you're telling on yourself. Like, what other conclusion am I meant to reach other than either A, you don't know the fucking material, which is not a huge surprise. B, you've got this bigotry in which you can't see a black woman as worthy of attention, and C, you've got nothing fucking better to do on X other than like breed this algorithm of like horrific, racist, self-satisfying, grifting bullshit. It's so. I'm glad that all of the official, the studio and Christopher Nolan and all these things have just so blatantly
ignored it,
shut it all down, because there's just no there. It's just absurd. It doesn't deserve time.
Well said. I agree.
If you've enjoyed this episode, then thank you so much for listening. We make this podcast every 2 weeks, and we look forward to you listening to it and then sending through your feedback. There are multiple ways that you can do that. You can reach out to us at deepfort@gmail.com and send through a question. You can find us on Instagram or on Facebook. You can rate us 5 stars on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. That really helps. And if you are on Spotify, you can actually open up an episode and leave one and one only comment per episode from your user account. Michael, did we get any comments from last week's episode?
We got one comment.
Okay.
On episode Kind of provocatively titled Chief Fuck Up Officer, Nick.
Yeah,
if I may
you
say.
know, took a bit of a swing.
One comment from Ben Quaid, and he said, "Sounds like a pretty good example of why backing into a park is safer than backing out." Which I think is
Don't remember.
We got no comments this week. We got no comments.
Don't remember
I think
what that referred to.
That was me witnessing a car crash and not getting out to do anything about it.
Sure. On that note here, just opening up the mailbag here. Actually, play the little jingle. Mailbag, mailbag, it's a weekly mailbag. Deep thoughts mailbag. There we go. Just a comment here from Fee Glasgow, aka Ben's wife. It's entitled "Reverse Bitch." Nick Shadle, you are wrong. Backing into parks is so much easier than backing out of a park. When the world is going to shit and you need to get out in a hurry, bitch, better we able to drive straight out of wherever you are. So no mail this week, but if you want to reach out to us, deepthought@gmail.com. It's just
like an ambush by the Quaids.
Yeah, the Quaid attack. It is nice to know that you can still be friends with people who are so wrong. And I think that's actually a nice sign for the 21st century, that instead of this polarized discourse breaking friendships apart, you can have friends who believe for some reason that reversing into a car park is better, and you can still keep them in your lives. I think that's really nice.
Speak for yourself, dude. They're dead to me.
Oh, Mikey, you got something to wrap up for us?
I got a weird news for you, Nicholas.
Actually, I have one little update, which I think is also kind of mailbaggy. This is sort of follow-up from a previous episode.
Oh,
no, we'll end on your weird news, but I just want to get this in quickly. Do you remember our discussion of sundials last week?
Yes.
A bit of a throwback episode. I'm enjoying this. This is sort of antiquities week here on the pod. We were talking about sundials. We're talking about how time is clockwise because the shadow around a sundial goes in a certain direction in the northern hemisphere. And do you remember that we actually asked, what happens in the southern hemisphere? Oh, it actually goes the opposite direction. Well, I had a little bit of a further read up on sundials, because have you ever seen a vertical sundial, Michael? A wall-based
I've
sundial.
seen a regular one.
You've never seen a regular sundial?
I don't think so.
You need to get out to a park, mate.
Yeah, I've been to a park.
So here's the interesting thing. We were talking about, can you use a northern hemisphere sundial in the southern hemisphere? Would it work? Right? The really interesting, weird thing here is that you can take a horizontal sundial from the northern hemisphere and use it vertically in the southern hemisphere. Sundials, which are designed to be used with their plates horizontal in one hemisphere, can be used with their plates vertical at the complementary latitude in the other hemisphere. For example, the sundial in Perth, which is at latitude 32 degrees south, would function properly if it were mounted on a south-facing vertical wall at latitude 58 degrees north. So that's slightly further north than Perth, Scotland. The surface of the wall in Scotland would be parallel with the horizontal ground in Australia, so the sundial works identically on both surfaces. So if you've got a sundial and you're moving to the northern hemisphere, put it on the wall. It'll still work.
If you've got a sundial moving to the northern hemisphere and listening to Deep Thought.
Yeah, at the equivalent latitude from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, and you need this metal sundial to come with you. Maybe it's like a family heirloom. You have options. That's all I'm saying. You've got options.
And call in if you are that insanely niche audience.
Yeah. So remember as well, like in the southern hemisphere, the shadow marks go anti-clockwise to progress time on a horizontal one. But if you have a vertical southern hemisphere clock, the hour runs clockwise. So it runs the same way.
Clockwise.
Yeah. So there's my little sundial follow-up, just to cap things off. Now, Michael, you got a weird news for me to wrap this up?
Well, I do, but I did remember I got this one little nugget that I wanted to talk to you about, because I went to the drive-in last week.
Hey, I didn't realize it still had drive-ins.
There's one left in
in
Victoria.
the
here.
entirety of Victoria.
So we thought it'd be fun. We'd take the dog, and haven't been to the drive. What?
You made it sound like the dog was going to watch the movie with you.
She didn't do a lot of watching, I'll be honest. We went and saw Toy Story 5.
Okay.
I just thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Get this, though. So I haven't been to the drive-in probably since I was like 10 years old. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And it's weird to kind of do it then as an adult because you're in charge of the car or whatever. So we got there we picked Toy Story 5 because it was early. Kind of didn't really factor in that it was going to be
Daylight.
Kids running around everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they factor in the daylight thing, I think. It was a 6 p.m. movie. And so we're kind of working out, should we go reverse in and sit in the back in the boot and open up the thing?
I mean, it'd be insane to reverse into a park like that.
Why is that?
Like we just talked about.
Gotcha. Fuck. Edit that out. So we decided to go classic front on. And the movie starts and there's a lot of people in front of us. We've got like kind of prime position, front and center, not front and center, middle and center. Great positioning on Lauren's part there. And there's quite a few people in front of us who have done the reverse in thing. And they've got like, a lot of them are kind of bigger families as you'd expect at the drive-in. Movie starts and we've got these people in front. So in the lane ahead of us, there's people going front on, but the lane in front of them, so two in front of us, there's a woman there with kind of a big family. She's reversed in and she's got her lights on. And it's just the positioning of the car is beaming straight into my face.
What? So yeah, it's crazy. Two questions here. One, I don't understand how they're sitting to watch the movie reverse in. Are we talking like station wagons where they can be like lying in the boot? Yeah. Like how are they watching?
They've got some kids lying in the boot and they've brought deck chairs and stuff as well. So they're sitting outside as well.
Oh, okay. But they've left their lights on.
They've left their lights on and I'm annoyed immediately.
Of course.
But I give it a bit of time. 5 minutes. And I'm like, this is insane now. Yeah. 5 minutes is insane.
Yeah.
Lauren doesn't really want me to go say anything.
You have to go say something. 10
minutes go by. The lights are still on. I'm like, this is fucking... this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I get out the car and I'm like, if it's this bad for me, the people in front must be like crazy. Furious, so I get out the car and I walk past the car immediately in front of us and it's just a couple with a kid and they're talking to each other about, oh, is this lady going to turn her lights on? Right? So they're clearly aware of turn off. So they're aware of it, but I'm the hero.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to this woman. So I get to her car and I say, hey, do you mind just turning your lights on? This is coming right to my face. And she gives me chewed right off the bat.
What?
And she says, yeah, it's automatic, so I can't do it. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, okay, do you know how long it's going to be? And she's like, I don't know. It'll turn off automatically, okay? And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
But that's not even true. You can turn off an automatic headlight.
I don't know. I mean, crazy, right? So I'm like, so now I know that at least she's aware of it. I'm kind of very surprised by this reaction.
That suggests that someone else has already come up and asked her about it.
Oh, you would think so, right? But so I walk back and I'm going past the couple in front of us. They've already been speaking about this. I could hear them. They give me nothing. They avoid eye contact with me. They didn't. You would expect like a nod or a thank you.
Maybe they're the ones who just asked.
That's more reason to give me but buddy, we're on the same team.
I mean, my first stop there, because I'm a coward, would have been to the drive-in people, not to the car people. I would have been like, Usher, this is your job to fix this. Where's the staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so far away. It's not like in the movies, where you can just go out into the foyer.
Yeah.
But Nick, you're not a coward, okay? You stand
nice
up to
you.
people. Don't say things like that about yourself. Anyway, so I was pissed about the reaction from the woman. In a way, I was even more pissed about the couple that avoided eye contact with me.
So you didn't like that when you were in a conflict where you had been hard done by, that there were bystanders who were very close witnesses to the thing that happened, who rather than getting themselves involved, just ignored it and pretended like it didn't affect you.
Yes. And
is that some way reminiscent of an event from last podcast where there was an unjust event that occurred and really close witnesses and they just ignored the situation? It strikes me as something that... Wait, didn't that happen to you? Weren't you the person who didn't actually step in when they needed back? That was you last week, wasn't it? Wasn't that the exact same fucking thing that you did that you're now bemoaning this week, not 2 weeks later? Isn't that exactly what you did, Michael?
Completely different.
Now you see the benefit of it?
It's completely different. Okay, completely different situation. First of all, that was a supermarket, and this is a completely different setting. And the other difference is that it happened to me, which is very important when it comes to how aggrieved I feel. Okay, there's not I don't really have a third one.
Yeah,
apart
from that, feel like you got much of a fucking
exactly
leg to stand on. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool story.
Eventually, the lights did automatically turn off.
Yeah, it sorted itself out, did it? Yeah.
Anyway, Toy Story 5. Wrap it up, guys, I reckon.